Hello and welcome to the Meet the MS Business Analytics Ambassadors, a conversation dedicated to providing prospective students with an opportunity to hear from our current students. My name is Aaron Shaw. I'm the Assistant Director of Recruitment for our full-time MBA and MS programs. And I will be co-hosting along with the MS Business Analytics Program Director, Professor Dominic Soletto. Dominic, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Dominic, please join me in welcoming the stars of our show today, Yoon Jin and Jing Ting, our current student ambassadors. Welcome and thank you for being here as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So before we get going here today, I do want to provide the audience with a little bit of background. So we'll start with Yoon Jin. Can you just tell us a little bit about who you are?
Hello, my name is Yoon Jin Bae, and I am from South Korea. So I'm Korean international student at UB, and I went to undergrad at UB as well. And I came back to UB for my graduate school MSBA program.
Awesome. And Jing Ting?
Thank you, Aaron, for introducing us. My name is Jing Lin. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. This May, I graduated with a dual degree from University at Buffalo in biological sciences, as well as business administration, concentrating in human resources. Currently, I'm studying master's in business analytics here.
Great. Thank you. So to get to our conversation, when you choose UB, you're immediately introduced to a vibrant community that is culturally diverse, internationally minded, and committed to your career advancement. Your classmates, faculty mentors, professional staff, alumni, and industry connections become your community, supporting you during the MS Business Analytics program and long after. We call this your UB Forever Network. So let's hear more from our ambassadors on that. Here we go. First question over to you, Yoon Jin, sorry. What other schools did you consider and why did you ultimately choose UB?
So I consider University of Connecticut and UB because Connecticut was where my business analytics role model was graduated. But then I really had great experience at UB for my undergrad. And I'm the type of person who loves socializing and networking with other people. And all the people that I met at UB made me feel I really belong here. So I decided to came back to UB.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Jing Ting, did you have anything to add to this particular question? Other schools or why UB?
Because I graduated from UB, so I had a good experience, and I think that UB would provide me the experience that I wanted.
Very cool. I definitely understand that. Being a UB grad myself, that's probably what I would have said to the question too.
Yeah, great. I mean, UB through and through across the board here. So that's fantastic.
So I guess kind of given that, like having chosen UB and going to the end of your first semesters here almost, right? What do you think leads to a person thriving in this program? Like what kind of student would thrive?
I would think that a self-motivated person would thrive in this program because whether you're practicing coding skills outside of class or gaining experiences through group projects or exploring different softwares or tools that your professors show in class, it all requires you to be responsible for your own learnings.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you bring that up. And I think there are, certain classes in which, and just the career field in general, where, it kind of does thrive off of this continuing advancement sort of mindset, right? And, part of continuing advancement is that while you're in school, there's, I won't call it a crutch, but it's kind of a crutch, right? There's a support network of faculty and resources and things like that. But it's also important to gain the skill set of being able to kind of find that path for yourself post-graduation, right? Oh, we don't go away. You can always reach out to us for help and things like that, even post-graduation. But that's interesting that you say that. I definitely would agree with you.
All right, let's move on. So Yoon Jin, I hope you're living with no regrets, right? Or at least that's what we as human beings have in mind when looking back on things, right? No regrets. But if you could go back in time and start the program all over again, what advice would you give yourself as an incoming candidate?
I would say I put a lot of effort on building decent understanding of statistic concept, and learning at least one programming language would make students less suffering from the classes, because students were not going to like actually calculate all the statistical like formula. It is like besides one mandatory statistical course, but all the predictive modeling, data mining logics are based on these statistical concepts like linear regression model, decision tree, CART, model KNN. So knowing those, like having deeper understanding of those concepts will help you help students to thrive more all the courses.
Yeah, Dominic, and if you don't mind chiming in here, I often get asked this question, for somebody who's exploring business analytics as a pivotal point in their career, looking to go in a new direction, what does somebody need to know? Or if there's, one class or one skill or one tool that they need to be familiar with prior to starting the program, is there one thing or is it multiple things?
Yeah, so I get, it's important, I guess, from my perspective, to understand that kind of the business analytics degree can lead you in multiple different career journeys, right? Some of those journeys are more statistically driven, right? And they're more driven by some mathematical models and the predictive side of things. And some of them are more presentation and translation focused. Translation meaning translating data into business outcomes, right? And some of those are a little bit more on the soft skills side than they are on the, hardcore mathematics side. And so I would actually say that it's kind of a combination. I think that there's not one specific maybe programming language or one specific statistical thing that somebody might want to know coming into the program, but I think it is a combination of, if you're looking to start something that will help you, right? Perhaps looking at the fundamentals of programming and some of the core concepts, irrespective of language. I'm not talking Python or anything like that, but just the core concepts of how programming works, combined with what Jingting, you had said about being motivated to kind of come and learn and do additional things outside the class. I think it's kind of a combination of those two things. Part of the hard part about, of course, anything you want to do in stats, right? And learn stats and learn programming is going to help you out, in this career and many careers, right? But you don't necessarily have to drive up against a brick wall before joining the program, but you do have to be willing to do a little bit more kind of fact finding outside of class, I think, during maybe your first semester, depending. Some people aren't strong on the programming and statistics side, and so they spend the majority of their time working on that. And some people are a little bit less great on the business side, and so they spend the majority of their time kind of working on that. So it depends on the student, but those are kind of some of the things.
Yeah, that's fantastic insight. Thank you so much for sharing, and a little bit of a sneak peek into the curriculum, which we'll cover in a future conversation. So moving on to our final question, Dominic, do you want to handle this one?
Yeah, and you know what? This is something that, as a former student, I'm curious about how things have changed over time. Where do students live? I mean, is it mostly on campus, near campus, around Buffalo? And what about, like, how does that play in with like some of your group work? Because the school management is huge on group activities and graduate level courses.
So most students that I know of live off of but near campus, usually in third-party apartments by North Campus or houses near South Campus. And for those houses, it is generally within 15 minutes of walking distance, and they are close to the UB Snappy bus stop. So there's the main circle one, as well as the Goodyear stops that the UB, the blue bus, usually stops at. So that isn't too much of a walking for them. Group work usually takes place on campus and libraries if we have to meet up in person. And then now, because of the pandemic, it is more and more and more transitioning onto Zoom. So we have done a lot of projects over Zoom.
Interesting. From a personal perspective, any comments on which one you prefer, in person or Zoom, for group work?
I would have to say that in person would be more productive, but Zoom would definitely be easier for everyone, especially with so many students in a group. It is hard to meet up on a schedule, but Zoom makes it more flexible.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I kind of probably feel similar. Very cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. And that's going to do it for this particular segment. Dominic, Yunjin, Jingtang, thank you for talking us through the culture, the community associated with the MS Business Analytics program. To our audience, we're glad that you're considering the UB MS Business Analytics program, but we want to hear from you. So stay connected. You can do so by taking your cell phone out, opening the camera, and that'll access the links associated with this QR code on your screen. Once you're there, you'll find opportunities to dive into our digital library where this conversation and so many more are archived, schedule a one-on-one admissions advising session, register for a recruiting event, browse our website and social media, and so much more. We look forward to future conversations and the potential of welcoming you to the UB School of Management family. Take care and goodbye for now.